Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Elephant in the Room. Hi, Taranjeet. How are you?
Very well, Muihan, very well. Selamat Hari Raya to everyone. Eid
Selamat Hari
Mubarak.
Raya.
Absolutely. I hope everyone has had a safe and a blissful Hari Raya with the family and loved ones.
Okay. So just a little bit logistics, since this is our first show after the 2 days break that we took for Hari Raya. So we also want to remind those who have just joined us, especially those who are new to our show, please do subscribe to both our page as well as our channel on YouTube. We are running a YouTube live for the first time this week. So hopefully, if you are tuning in for the first time, feel to do subscribe to our channel and hit the bell button so that you get notification every time we post up a new video. So we like to welcome all of you to Elephant in the Room. My name is Muihan, and my co-host here is Taranjeet Singh. And both of us we are daily. We run every Monday to Friday to discuss all the issues that are important to us. And for today, Taranjeet, I think we have a very special guest. Maybe
Indeed.
you want to give some quick
Yes,
background.
absolutely. So we continue the series of discussions that we started last week. And we started last week with some young professionals into the workforce, just listening to them and listening to their trials and tribulations given the current MCO that we are facing right now. And today, our focus is slightly different. So we have Ben Guan into the room, and he is a graduate from Uni Razak in the area of leadership. He is a scholar from Yayasan Cemerlang, an outstanding individual there. And right now, he's also a teacher in one of the high schools in Seremban. After graduating from his university degree, and unfortunately, upon the passing of his father, Ben took up the family business of repairing electrical appliances, predominantly the area of refrigerators and washing machines. But interestingly enough, Ben has been following his father since he was 12 years old, going into that particular area. And it's interesting now to see how this is all coming to a head as we start talking about these sort of credentialing, these sort of qualifications in the area of TVET, and that's what today's discussion is all about. He's also a freelance social media editor and in the area of technology and AI service providing in this regard, with a company called Appen. So I would like to warmly welcome Ben to the room.
Hi, Ben.
Hi guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you guys for having me here. Thank you Taranjeet and also Muihan.
Oh, it's our pleasure, Ben. It's our pleasure, and it's great for you to join us today. We are terribly excited to hear what you have to say and to share your observations, especially so given the fact that not only are you a graduate in leadership, but you are now playing in this area of electrical electronics, looking at the type of work that you're doing and the people that you're currently working with. So we are very intrigued to hear this. So let me move it on to Muihan. Muihan, let's start off with the first question.
Cool. So thank you, Taranjeet, and welcome again to Elephant in the Room. And for those who have just joined us, we are very happy to restart our program after the Raya break. Today we have with us Ben Guan, and maybe Ben, you can just kindly give a short introduction of what do you do, what you represent. Although I know Taranjeet gave a bit, but seems to be a lot of things. Maybe hearing from you would be much better. So maybe you want to do that quickly.
Yes, thank you Muihan. I'll start quick. So to describe myself, I would say that I'm more of a jack of all trades because I always like learning new things, even things that I find it hard or difficult. And this is what brought me here. When I was in secondary, I was a science student. And then I jumped over to Uni Razak after I got a scholarship from Yayasan Cemerlang. I have to say thank you to everyone from Yayasan Cemerlang, especially the CEO, Dr. Hafiza. She helped me a lot. And I got into Unirazak and I was studying business and also social science. So it's a big leap from science to business and social science. And then after graduating, I took on a job as a teacher and I started teaching languages, which is also something that I have not learned or even got a professional degree on. And then I took on a part-time job as a social media auditor, which is involving quality control and also IT services. That is also something that I'm not familiar with or even exposed to. And then after the passing of my father, I took on his family business in repairing refrigerators and also washing machines, and field, which is in vocational and also technical skills. And this is what actually describes me overall. I really like everything that I learn because life is short and it's always good to learn anything that you want. And right now, I have a piano at my home. My mother just bought it. She's learning it, and maybe someday I might learn it once she master it. So yeah, that's kind of me. So I'm always the best of both worlds. I like everything that I do. You ask me what do I hate? I can't say that I hate anything, except for if I'm not able to given a chance to really start to learn something new. So yeah, that's about me.
Wonderful, wonderful, Ben. You are really very agile, and I think this spirit of ever learning, ever adapting, looking at different opportunities, be it our interest or be it our necessity, is really, really amazing, and really, really salute you. All right, maybe I wanted to check with you because of one, we've been talking to different professionals, individuals, as well as from different areas. With regards to the impact of COVID-19 at MCO. So maybe you can also share with us how has it impacted you, maybe in your business as well as in your profession, since you do quite a bit of things.
Good question, Muihan. I mean, the MCO has brought big impacts to everyone, not just me, but everyone, and not just in the business industry or economy, but also our emotions and also our psychology. Because when you can see some people, they even committed suicide because of MCO. And to me, yes, it has also impacted me as a business owner, as a teacher, and also as a person. It really hindered my business, because as a business owner in TVET, in the industry of TVET, I get fewer customers because of MCO. And even if I have any customers who call me and ask me to help them fix their fridge or even washing machines, I can't help them. Why? Because the spare parts stores are all closed due to MCO, and I can't buy the new spare parts and fix it for them. And this cut my source of income, cut the source of income of my stakeholders, which are the suppliers. And everyone is affected by this MCO. And because of that, my business has dropped exponentially. And my customer, they also have the psychological impact, because they do not have the refrigerators for them to store their food. They do not have any washing machines to do their daily activities. So these are all the impacts that we do not see, but actually affects all of us. And
yes,
that is, as a employee, I can also understand the feeling of it as an employee, because I work full-time as a teacher. So not only as a business owner, I can experience the impact of MCO, but as also an employee, I can see that even my brother is also a teacher, and his company has laid off a few teachers because the lack of money that's coming in to the I too will the experience of fear that my job security might be affected because of MCO, because I'm an employee. My brother, he's in the education field. I'm also in the education field. So that's the sense of insecurity is here. And luckily, thank God, I'm still working as a teacher. But the other fears that I have would be the new ways of working, because normally I teach face-to-face in a physical condition, new technologies at work, and how am I supposed to contact and communicate with my students, my colleagues, and also my supervisors? So these are all the impacts that we all face, and I can see that through my broad range of work as a business owner, as a teacher, and also as an employee. So yeah, it happens and it impacted us a lot.
So that's really insightful, Ben, and thank you for sharing that. Let's focus a little bit onto the area of TVET. Now, TVET is a significant sector for the nation. It's a significant educational sector to lift, or the perception is to lift those who have not been eligible for university degrees and what have you at a more vocational side. Let's talk about that, because I know you're playing in that field as well. What are the 1 or 2, 3 things that you wish to share with us around this TVET area?
That's very interesting, Taranjeet. I mean, there are a few things, there are a lot of things that I would really like to share to everyone about TVETs, but the few important, the key things that I want to emphasize on, the first one would be the perception of TVET graduates. Because TVET graduates, we always have this misconception and we always misperceive TVET graduates as someone of a lower abilities. That is what I observe from the misperception of society in this country and also around in other countries. They always think that TVET graduates their socio-economical status are not as good as someone who graduated from a professional university or with a professional degree. And this issue has become a social stigma in our country and in other countries that are developing or even developed countries. And this stigma is not risen. It has been here way back 20, 30 years back, where we sometimes see in comics or even internet webtoons saying that showing this kind of misconception and social stigmas. Like during my university time, I had a course called cross cultural management, and we learned about something called the 5 dimensions of power, which is introduced by Hofstede. And one of the few things that Hofstede have researched and discovered is that people are determined in a few examples, in a few dimensions. And one of it is what I can see in Malaysia is quite explicit, which is the dimension of power distance, where we can see Malaysians, I'm not saying any race or anyone, but as Malaysians, the majority of our society, we like power. Like for example, if someone is a Datuk Sri, Tun Haji Ibrahim, all those things, we want them. They are very sensitive in those kind of things. Even like during my school, we sometimes invite some of the government representative, and some of them they have the Haji, and if their name is HJ, we have to follow HJ. We cannot put HAJI. So that is kind of sometimes the things that I see in that's quite similar to TVET. We see things that we want and we believed in, but we seldom look at the factual research, the results that says that actually TVET graduates are, in my opinion, way better than professional degrees. Why? Because the amount of the skills that they have are more practical compared to professional universities. They are more theoretical. Let's just say, for example, in our Malaysian industry, 30% and more of the Malaysian industries are actually in the electrical, automotive, manufacturing, and also engineering industry. Those industries are all related to TVET. They are not for professionals like law degree or mathematics and chemistry or biology. Those are all in TVET. But still, why is it that people misperceive these things and saying that TVET graduates have no chance of getting a job? But in fact, there are actually a lot of demands for TVET graduates. The only thing that we see that TVET graduates are unable to secure the job is because of the lower self-esteem that they have after when they know about the misconception by society. because people label them as lower and incompetent compared to profession, and this has demotivated them, which is wrong. And we must change the misconception and show everyone that TVET peoples are competent and they are able to perform in the market.
Okay,
so that's the first thing that I really want people to understand.
You're absolutely right. And before I pass it on to Muihan, because I know he has a point of view to talk about, but before I pass it on to Muihan, and I think in a way that is also representative and reflective of the differing wages that you will see between a honors graduate student and somebody who has worked within the vocational side. And you can see this differential there. But allow me it's a rhetorical question, but could this also be reflective of the quality of standards that are currently being expressed or put across? I'm not sure, but this is just a rhetorical question that I'm putting across. Muihan, over to you, buddy.
Great. I'm quite passionate when it comes to employability of young people, because I go around universities to actually talk to so many university undergraduates, and all these people are part of the statistics of the unemployed youth that we have year in, year out. Different agencies churn out. So before I pose my question, Ben, I just wanted to really do a quick shout out to all the friends who are here this evening. First and foremost, nice to have you, Dr. Mike. Welcome back. Nice to see you, Sulim. All right. And I think this is somebody you know, Ben. Is it Kumata Raman? Is it? Thanks for tuning in.
Yes,
we also have Lisa Osman. Nice to see you. Billy Guan, right? And also we have Niven, my friend Niven. Thank you for tuning in. Winnie as well. All right. Thanks for your support. As well as Mr. Zorab is back. Hi, Zorab. Good too. So we also have Singh. So talk about need to train in self-confidence and resilient skills. All right. And lastly, we have Brian Leong. All right. So thank you all for tuning in. Maybe I want to give a perspective as Taranjeet has alluded to, and I know for a fact because I do some initiatives with people like Talent Corp, people like Invest KL, and so on. We have enough statistics to show that in our country, we have a surplus of tertiary university graduates. In fact, the statistics currently show, or the last two statistics show, if you're a degree holder, chances are of you securing employment 6 months after you graduate is only about 60 to 70%. So there's about 30 to 40% unemployed degree holders in that sense. Whereas if you're a certificate or diploma holder, the employability rate is way beyond 90-95%. So I would concur with you, Ben, to say that this whole idea that there is this stigma given by the society. But what do you think we can do differently? Maybe just pick your brain quickly from the different areas, whether it's the employers themselves, whether it's the schools themselves, whether it's even our teachers. Since you're a teacher, I think we are the youngest, teachers are our youngest, earliest influence in our life. And what ideas that our teachers plant in our head when we are young actually carries on to when we are going to adult. And I feel that is very, very critical. Maybe a quick 2 ideas that you can share, or 2 parties you feel that can actually help to improve this in a quick way, rather than, I know it's a very complex problem.
Okay, good. Thank you for asking that question, Muihan. To me, in my opinion, I always like to solve things based on the roots of the issue. If we say we have to say the employers are the ones to solve the issue, for me, it's quite late, because at that time, the graduates are already 20 to 30 years old. And if the employers want to change, they have to think about their own business issues, their situation. So for them to give graduates the employment chance, and and it's not. I don't think it's practical because it's quite late already. So for me, the two things that I emphasize on would be, first is parenting, and second would be education, because we always know that a child can learn things very quickly when they are at a younger age. That's why we always teach them new different languages, to teach them social skills and even other practical skills like piano lessons, violins at a very young age. We cannot teach an adult as easily as teaching a children. So to me, parenting is very important. So the parents themselves, they have to put in those ideas to them, that just like what we see in other countries, like in Finland, where the parents, they give students the freedom, their children the freedom to learn whatever that they like, and not focusing on something that is too academic or just too theoretical. Because when we go into the real world, everything is practical, and we cannot depend on theories or books or even our university educations to help us in our lives. So it is always best to start off early, to inform them, our children, what is happening in the real world, and what can we do to prepare them more. Same goes to education. Education is more of a formal teaching to parenting. Parenting is more informal. It's formal, where we can give them the specific terms and also explanations. Why is it that we want to do this? Parents can teach them what you should do, but teachers will teach them why should you do it. So that's how we inculcate these two things together to create a optimum and holistic individual, so that they are able to be competent in the market.
Okay, so that's great, and I really hope that any parents tuning in, and I think that is a very sound advice on the basis that I think it's important to really do assessment on your child capabilities. If it's not those what we call study type or cognitive type, then there's no point pushing them through a system that they dread it and hate it in that sense. Because looking at opportunities and the way forward, anything that is skill hands-on related has a very great future. And that's where I think TVET comes in. So I think would really encourage parents to actually look at that option early on. And I think successful countries like Germany, like Finland, as what you said, has shown that if you do it early on, even before they are 12 years old, you get very good at what you do with your hands, and you do have a very, very good career moving forward. All right, I want to take one question from Dr. Mike from Singapore. So Dr. Mike asks, in terms of COVID and looking at how we are changing so rapidly because of COVID, how will then young people begin to develop the kinds of skill, knowledge, and even instincts they need to embrace and to succeed in this post-COVID world? So maybe not for those who are going to graduate soon, but maybe those who are in their final year or their third year now, they got another year to come out, and they know by the time they come out, the dust is almost settling down. So if you give another 8 to 10 months lease of life to change yourself before the new world changes, so what would be those things that you would suggest to the young people to adopt and to change?
Well, for the young people, we all know that the younger generations, they are more exposed to technology. So in order for them to develop those kinds of skills in the post-COVID world, we need to tell them what is going on after COVID, and that is technology. And that is something that they are familiar with in their own fields. We cannot teach them to go back out physically, but we should instead teach them the virtual world of what is going on, and how can we use virtual realities such as AI, machine learning to increase the skills and knowledge. We should not try to teach them the old tricks of pre-COVID, and we need to teach them post-COVID, which are related more to technology, because we can see in our own eyes where their parents, their friends, their teachers, they are all using technology, and this is how we are supposed to develop the young, the graduates, or even like my students right now who are in Form 5 waiting for SPM, and now they know that SPM has been pushed back to next year. So how do I develop them in their skills? I would teach them how to use technology in an effective way instead of using social media to search for not information that is quite how do I say, is not able to be used in the real life. But actually, I also shared once before to my school that we can actually use social media and what we do normally into our own life. Like for example, we like looking at photos, we like looking at Shopee, online shopping. We can actually use that kind of information and apply it in our own situation. Like for example, we can use shopping to learn languages. Why? Because we need to contact the sellers. We need to talk to them, and when they reply, if let's just say the seller has a language different language barrier that we cannot understand, we can use Google. We can use it to search and translate through technology. And all of these are the skills and knowledge. And this is actually what Mike has said. Instincts is always in us. Humans always have an inner instinct to thrive and survive in.
Yes, absolutely. So that's a good one. And if you ask me, frankly, Ben, I totally agree with you. For about 2.5 years of my life, I was in a place that only spoke Russian, and Google Translate was my very best friend. So, I totally agree with you. Now, there are a couple of good questions or observations rather, that have been raised. Zorab raised a very good observation here. The greatest credentials and qualifications to land a job today is the ability to hold a decent conversation. This is exactly what you said, Ben. He also goes on to say, no matter whether it's from TVET or otherwise, it really does not matter. It's a question about how you now perceive the issues that are around you. I have a slightly different variant to that. And that's a question that I would probably now ask you around university. Has university, and cognizant of time here, has the university life, has the university teachings prepared you to cater for these unsettling times that we're currently going through, Ben? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, Taranjeet, actually, my thoughts on it, I don't have to think anything, because I have to say I give full credit to my university, because it is through my university life that I get to learn all of this. I live in Seremban, so the exposure that I have are quite limited. And once I got into Unirazak, to the heart of KL, a place where I've never been to, I've been there, I've learned, I've chat and talk to a lot of my mentors, my lecturers, even my vice chancellor, Dr. Sri Zabit. Before, he is such a to the ground person, and always teaches us about what is going on in this world and the VUCA world.
Yes.
Hats off to all of them, and it definitely helped me a lot and helped me cater to these trying times.
And I have personal experience with Dato Sri Zabid. He's our chairman on CMI, the regional board for Malaysia. He's an outstanding individual. Hats off to him. A couple of further observations, Muihan, if you don't mind. So Singh comes along, and a good friend of ours, and he says, what about providing these students mentors? Would it help if they were to get mentors from a practical experience perspective to allow them to think differently? What are your thoughts on this? Very quickly, Ben.
Well, I'm more of in the middle, because I personally believe that mentors are good, but it depends on what kind of mentors that we click. Because sometimes even if we have a mentor that is good and very experienced, but we do not click with them and we cannot understand, and we will not want to understand them. So mentors for me is good if you want to learn theoretically and also in terms of experience, but in terms of using it, practicality, I think it might not be as effective as we all see.
Okay, that's a very good point. Anything else, Muihan? I think Zorab raised another point, if I'm not mistaken. There we go. Some predicted the post-COVID-19 skills are digital, tech, coding, agriculture, music, food tech. What are your thoughts on this? And I think I'm going to end with that. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I have to agree some of the points by Zorab, because machine learning, like what I said before, the artificial intelligence, the technology in that and the development of that is getting more and more advanced. And we are now entering not just IR 4.0, but also another one we call Web 3.0, which involves internet and the use of AI in our daily activities, such as Siri, Google Assistants. Those are all things that we need to understand better. We cannot just understand AI as a consumer. We need to understand it as a person, and a business owner, because these are technologies. They are built to help us. They are not here like what we always see in the movies like Terminator, that they will eventually kill us. No, it actually helps us, but it depends on how we adjust to it. So that is good. I agree with Zorab in some of these industries that are thriving. And yes, that is what we are supposed to be heading out.
Good. Very good. Muihan?
So great. Time is up, and we are so happy to have you with us, Ben, to share with us your perspective. And we also been getting requests to be somebody who's on very hands-on in your case. Fits our bill very nicely, and we are so glad to. Maybe one last word before from you, Ben, before we close the show.
Well, just to say thank you to everyone, and just want to give a last advice to everyone is that in these trying times, the only thing that always stops us from moving forward is the emotion of fear. Fear is always something that has hindered us in our lives. Fear of uncertainty, fear of losing our job, even fear for our own life. So we do not run away from that, because fear can also be a powerful motivation for us to really help us think outside of the box and find that light in the room of darkness.
Very good. Very good.
Thank you so much, Ben. Thank you. All right. So we have come to the end of our show, Taranjeet. Maybe quickly, your closing thoughts.
Sure. As always, it's very it's exciting to have somebody like Ben on the program. There's a level of enthusiasm, there's a level of energy that he exudes. A couple of decent thoughts that he touched on the differential between the professional and the TVET side, the vocational side rather, and the whole area around a perception. In my mind, I think this entails a far deeper understanding or a far deeper discussion around whether this perception is indeed true. Let's talk about things around the quality of education. Let's talk about standards of the education system itself. That then leads to this, or has led to this differing viewpoints, and also the pay differential. I certainly enjoyed the discussion. I like what he had talked about. And the one thing that that I took away from this was his perception around you need to be agile. And this is something a long time ago we talked about. The agility is the thing that will differentiate the sustainability in today's unsettling terms to those who are not able to achieve that. Muihan?
I think wonderful to recap is to say that for such a young man, this guy has done a lot of things, and is if let's say you are older, then maybe you could say this fella lack of focus. But for such a young guy to do so many things is really amazing. He's really adaptable. He's really flexible, and he's agile. And I think these are the qualities that will really, really build resilience, and in the longer run. And like he rightly said, come what may, I'm very sure this guy will succeed. So with that, we thank you everybody for joining us once again. We'll be back on tomorrow at 6 o'clock, where we will meet another entrepreneur, very interesting. We will release the details in our page soon. All right. So with that, thank you so much for all your tuning in. We see you tomorrow again at 6 p.m.
Thank you. Bye-bye.